maybe we can just perfect. So thank you so much everyone for joining, and it's an absolute honor to host all of you. And this is something which I have been planning since a couple of weeks. And we are going to discuss everything about Big Four versus mid-sized firm for articleship. I know that it's a Sunday morning. Most of you would prefer to sleep on a Sunday morning, but I'm glad that all of you have joined in, and that is something which I really like about all of you. Firstly, thank you so much, Asta, Kushagra, Aishwarya, and Nana, for being a part of this session. It'll be absolute honor for me to host all of you, and thanks a lot once again for joining in.
Thanks, Kushal. Happy to be here. Thanks for
Thanks
having
for
us.
inviting.
Perfect. So maybe guys, we can just do a quick poll first, and let's try to understand how many people are from which intermediate attempt. So Shabd, I just request you to launch the first poll of CA intermediate attempt, November 23, May 2023. If there are students from other attempt, type it in the chat box. Uh, if you are from any other attempt, you can just feel free to use the chat box if there is there. But I assume most of them would be in November 2023 itself. And there are like people from May 2023 as well. So 93% of the audience is from November 23. And there is like 7% of the audience from May 2023 as well. So thank you so much for that, guys. This means a lot, and it'll help us also to clarify your doubts accordingly. So let's deep dive into the conversation, and let's start off with a quick round of introduction of all the guests who have joined in. Let's begin alphabetically itself. So we can start with Asta, then Aishwarya, then Kushagra, and then Nena.
Sure. So I started my CA journey alongside my college actually, and I did my graduation from St. Xavier's College, Kolkata, and I started my CA journey from the first year itself, and by the third year I was starting my articleship. So it was a bit difficult back then, and I did my 3 years of articleship, first 18 months with a CA firm, CA mid-size firm based out of Calcutta in the field of auditing and taxation called SAP, and the firm's name is SAPD and Company. While the rest 18 months I served as an industrial trainee in Indian Oil Corporation, and I cleared 3 levels of CFA alongside my articleship also. And then I went on, then after clearing my CA, I joined as a management consultant with Accenture Strategy.
Cool, perfect. So, guys, one thing I forgot to mention, you also have to tell one thing that is not there in your resume. I want you to introduce yourself. Of course, like this was a resume-oriented introduction, but something which is also not there in your resume. People would want to hear about your other side as well.
So the other side is I actually like playing sports a lot. So I've also played football and other sports in college as well. So that's one of the other sides.
Got it. Cool, Asta. Aishwarya will go ahead with you.
Hi guys, Aishwarya here. I am a chartered accountant. I qualified in November 22 attempt. I was a rank holder at inter and foundation levels, and I pursued my graduation from HR College of Commerce and Economics. I completed my articleship from one of the big fours, that's KPMG, in the field of audit and assurance, specifically statutory audit, based out of Mumbai. Currently, I'm working with Accenture as an analyst in strategy and consulting space. And one thing that's not on my resume is I like to sketch around a bit. I'm a little rusty, but yeah, I like it.
Okay, got it. Cool, Kushagra.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thanks, Kushal, again for having me. I'm basically based out of Mumbai most of my life. Completed my BCom from Narsing Manji College here in Mumbai again. Started my CA journey back in 2018. Yeah, gave my intern in May 19, secured a rank in that. Then joined KPMG as a staff accountant in mainly the FS practice, statutory audit again. Along with that, then I completed my finals in May 22, secured a rank there too. Recently, I've been working with BCG since the last 1 year as a management consultant. One thing that's not on my resume, okay, I think I'll put this on my resume next time I'm making it. I just completed my scuba certification course about 10 days back. That was a really fun experience. And yeah, I think I make a lot of, my friends make me do a lot of stupid stuff. Like we went for a Himalayan trek completely unprepared the year before that. So I like to do a few adventure stuffs, which which I need to be more prepared for. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
How do you get time to do all this with your job at BCG?
Yeah, it's a lot of negotiation with managers. Okay, I will work this day, but you give me this day. So yeah.
Right, got it. Maybe people would love to understand how do you manage to take leaves for these things? That is also a skill in itself.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Nena, we'll go ahead with you.
Morning, everyone. So I am based out of city Meerut in UP, and I have completed my articleship, my graduation from there only, from a mid-sized firm, of course. I completed my CA in May 2023 attempt, and currently I'm working in Deloitte USA as an audit senior assistant. So one thing apart from my resume is I have also started a YouTube channel recently, and I'm working consistently on it. It has topics from motivation, productivity, and some tips and tricks and all that. And along my articleship, I also joined a SICASA committee of ICI as secretary, and I manage some events there also. So
Got it. How do you get to know about these opportunities? How do you join, let's say, a committee of SICASA or Vikasa? How can people do that?
yeah, actually, I get to know about my senior. So
Hmm.
she was my senior in coaching classes. So you just get to know about these things by making connections and being social. So I get to know from there, and I visited branch frequently. I played badminton and I sing also. So from there, participating in these events got me there.
Got it. And what do you think would be the benefit of these things, like volunteering in all these activities? Does it benefit you in your profile? How does that happen?
Yeah, actually, it makes you more. Actually, CA is a bit is a course where we study a lot. So when we participate in such things, we get to know our caliber also if we are not going in college. It is the only source of our other curricular activities.
Hmm.
And I like to volunteer, I like to like host events and be on the mic all the time. So
Got it.
it helps you, yeah.
Got it. Cool. Perfect. Makes sense. Cool, guys. So let's deep dive into the topic. We have a diverse panel, two from Big Four, two from mid-sized firm. First, let's talk about your experience of choosing. Like, how did you choose whether to get into a Big Four or a mid-sized firm? And then we'll deep dive into the questions of interviews and work profile. So, Kushagra, let's begin with you. How did you decide to get into a Big Four, and what was your decision like?
Right. So for me, it was pretty clear actually. Again, it's a very, very personalized choice of where you want to be next, what the next steps for you are. For me, it was pretty clear. I saw myself in a corporate profile few years down the line. Yeah, don't have my life figured out, but I was sure that once I get out of my articleship, I wanted a corporate profile, wanted to work in a bigger organization. And what a big four in my head helped me with is or was supposed to help me with is polishing. That was the aspect that drove me towards a big four. It wasn't for the knowledge aspect because I wasn't too keen on continuing audit as something longer term, but I knew that working out of a big four will definitely give me the kind of polishing, something as simple as writing mails or how you behave in a professional setup, client meetings, etc., etc. That I think was a key decision making factor for choosing a big four.
Got it. And Asta, let's say, what were your what were your factors when you chose to join your articleship?
Right. So before joining, I had multiple things going on. So I heard from my seniors that for Big Four, you have to choose one particular field, and you will be assigned to one particular client most of the time, and you will be working with them only. But I wanted a diverse exposure, to be honest, and like to work on multiple fields at the same time, like audit or taxation or some other miscellaneous work which comes ROC or any other work. So I wanted to get the exposure of it, and also that I once wanted to go for industrial training, and I was not sure whether it will be easy with Big Four or not. So this was one of the criteria for me.
But then I have heard that while going for industrial training, it's always preferred that you come from a Big Four background. At least all my friends who've gone into industrial training, most of them, at least 80-90% of them had a Big Four background of articleship. So how did you get into industrial training even with a mid-sized firm background?
So at this current situation, most of the corporates are looking for industrial training actually. Like it has increased more with time, and It is actually not based on whether you are from a Big Four or not. Definitely, some of them have a criteria of Big Four, but most don't. And they basically look at the work experience you have worked at, like, for the past 18 months, and also on the basis of your CA finals knowledge. So they do look at this point. It's not basically on whether you're coming from a Big Four or not. It's just about the work you've done.
And how did you get to know about the industrial training opportunity?
Yeah, so I was very, very active on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
So most come on LinkedIn only. And there are some Telegram groups or some WhatsApp groups for industrial, the vacancies and all. So through that, you have to keep on applying. So actually, the problem is they try to look for the same people belonging to the same city, actually. They don't want someone to relocate or something. So it was a bit difficult that time because being from Kolkata, we had very few options, but still you get a lot of opportunities these days, actually, so it is getting easier day by day.
Got it. Fair. Quickly, we'll just go to Aishwarya and Naina. So let's talk about your interview experiences at your Big Four articleship firms. Like Aishwarya, you're from KPMG, and Naina, you're of the mid-sized firm. So can you walk us through your entire interview experience in detail? What were the type of questions asked, and how did you tackle them?
Yeah, sure. So, even though I joined KPMG, I have given interviews of multiple Big Fours, and something common I noticed among all of that is the kind of rounds they had. First, they have a screening aptitude test. Once you complete the aptitude test, that's when you have a HR round, and then you have a technical round. And in some cases, you also have partner round, but I'm not sure whether they have it currently because I've heard that it's not really done anymore. But firstly, in the aptitude test, they ask questions which are very basic, something like logical reasoning, something basic maths, permutations, combinations, and all those things that you might have done in CA Foundation and stuff. Plus, if you're going for a particular background, like let's say while you're giving the aptitude test itself, you have to choose whether you're applying for audit or whether you're applying for tax. Then in that case, those field specific questions would also come, something that you studied at inter level. And once you clear the aptitude test, and then HR round is pretty common. Tell me about yourself, where do you see yourself in 5 years, and all those questions. And coming back to technical, in technical, again, they'd be focusing more on what you studied at inter level. That would again be field specific, the field you're applying in case of articleship. In audit, you would get focused questions on the AS side, accounting standards, how do you do accounting treatments, and some questions regarding like how do you audit a particular area, something like that. And in tax, you might get a lot of questions regarding specific tax provisions like TDS and other stuff. So yeah, the overall interview experience, it's all about getting inside. So the best thing like to do is get access to the aptitude test and go start about it, because there will be a lot of people applying.
Right. And then in this aptitude test, is it also like they also ask a lot of logical reasoning questions, or maybe questions on English and grammar as well? Or
Yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
does that happen?
They do have questions on English grammar, basic, but there are really basic questions. Like you don't have to really prep for that. You would be able to attempt it without any prep. Basically, whatever you have learned all along, it's just a little bit of that. It won't be hard.
Got it. Can you give some examples of those questions?
Yeah, so like again, like you may have something like in maths, permutation, combinations, and those sort of questions. And in logical reasonings, there may be that symbols and patterns, identification types of questions. In verbal, you may have something like fill in the blanks, what is the most appropriate thing? And something in case of like when I gave my aptitude for Deloitte, in Deloitte, they also have speaking skills testing. They ask you to speak to on a particular topic for 2 minutes, so you have to just speak about that. So it will also be upon your speaking skills, grammar skills, and yeah, basically.
Got it. Got it. Fair. And how did you get to know about this articleship opportunity?
Okay, so in my particular case, since I am from HR college, we had a on-campus articleship drive. So that's how I got got to give interviews of 3 of the Big Fours, and the fourth one I got in through a friend of mine who I knew. So there are basically a lot of avenues by which you can get. If you're in a good college, maybe you will be having on-campus articleship drives, and you should definitely check with them. And even if not, if there are colleges which have a lot of CA students, they tend to have some contacts with the HR of the Big Fours and all. So maybe try speaking to your teachers and like getting the contacts directly, so you can directly email it to the HR. And the second thing would be, of course, LinkedIn. And if you have any other referrals working there, then that would be a great opportunity. And if you, even if you don't know anyone, you can reach out to any people on LinkedIn and they'll be willing to help you.
By sending emails to these HRs, I have noticed one thing that like a lot of people also ask me that most of these HRs don't reply after a point in time. So did that happen with you also, or how did you tackle with that, or maybe what was your format of writing that email which helped you in order to get an interview?
Yeah, so you just have to like write some basic details, like I'm from this attempt. We keep it short and crisp because I don't think personally that they have a lot of time to read your whole cover letter. If like just keep it crisp. I would give this attempt, I cleared with these marks, and I'm looking for articleship in this field, and whether there are any vacancies. And like in your resume, make sure that's a little clean and it's not very cluttered. Make sure you have the relevant scores on all the things that usually HRs look for. Sometimes they even want to know whether your ITT and those courses are completed. So yeah.
Got it. Fair. Cool. I think that's a quite comprehensive answer. Nena, over to you about your interview experience at a mid-sized firm. What kind of questions were asked?
Yeah, so in a mid-sized firm, we don't have a lot of rounds of interviews. There were only 2 rounds. First, one normal general call with the team. So they ask about your location, your preference profile. As in a mid-sized firm, you work in different kind of profiles. So my profile was including everything, auditing and taxation and a different kind of compliance work. So they ask you what you're more interested in, and they will try to give you that work mainly. And they also ask you about your attempts. So it was their major factor. Like, we know we all say that it doesn't matter, but they kind of prefer those who have first attempt cleared inter. I've seen that. Yeah, and then I went for interview. So there were some technical questions directly, like about the TDS compliances and GST applicability questions, basic general questions we studied in CA inter and CA intermediate only. And for auditing, they asked about the vouching and verification processes of different backgrounds, like revenues and all that we studied.
Got it. And
Yeah,
in
and
this, yeah, sorry,
yes.
word.
Yeah, no, I was saying they also cross-check that you are doing the private graduation as well. So articleship and graduation don't clash, or you're completed with your graduation or not, and these kind of questions.
Got it. And about the number of attempts that you mentioned, so even like for getting an articleship, is it like mandatory that you should always clear it in first attempt? Because I had heard that even like if you don't clear in first attempt, getting an articleship in a mid-sized firm shouldn't be a big challenge.
Yeah, it's not. I don't have any attempts, but I've seen some friends. So, like whenever there's a less vacancies, in my firm, one recently happened a case. There were only 2 vacancies in that firm, and 4 students were there who wanted to join. So those who had less attempts got preference,
Right.
and yeah, it is a bitter truth actually. So yeah, it
Got
happens.
it. But Kushagra, just over to you. So, any idea in terms of like whether Big Fours always prefer first attempt people who have like cleared in first attempt of CA intermediate?
Yeah, I think Nena put it very well. It's a bitter truth kind of a situation. It's about demand supply, right? After a point, if you have limited number of vacancies, the preference would go to someone who's cleared it in the first attempt. That being said, I know people who join Big Fours after multiple attempts, especially after finals. Like after finals, so even if if it's been 2, 3 attempts, Big Fours don't really have a very cutthroat criteria that you need to be a first attempt to get in. But articleship, yes, I saw for Big Four again, mid-size. Even I actually had a different point of view. I thought it's a bit like they are a bit more relaxed about it. But big fours, usually yes, they would prefer it, but I have seen exceptions. There are people who've gotten in the second. I think third attempt is the final cutoff. Second and third attempt, there are still some cases they accept. Yeah.
And is it also like mandatory to give both the groups in one attempt itself, or one by one if it's given, that is also okay?
Again, yeah, that same answer, right? Like, if the choice has to be made between two people, someone who's given it both together versus someone who's given one after the other, then the answer would always be the person who's given it together. But that being said, there will always be exceptions. Again, you can have a very good profile outside of your CA also, right? If you are doing a lot of stuff, extracurriculars and all, which can show a good, well-rounded personality, that could also play a good part. But yes, if preference-wise, then both attempts together.
Got it. Perfect. Cool. I think this sounds good to me. Now the topic of the conversation, right? Like choosing Big Four versus mid-sized firm. Now we also want to help each and everyone who's listening that we have to help them take a decision that what should they do if they are going to apply for articleship. Let's do this in an interesting manner. I want all of you to answer this question, and where you have done your articleship, I want you to mention pros and cons, so highlights and lowlights of your articleship stint of 3 years. Of course, like this would include industrial training as well, so that's fine, not an issue. So I want all of you to just answer like articleship में क्या highlights थे and क्या lowlights थे. Maybe two each, two highlights, two lowlights, or maybe more also if that is possible. So again, like we can begin with Asta, then Aishwarya, Kushagra, and then Nena.
Yeah. So basically, the pros I would say for working in a mid-sized firm would be basically your client interaction is is deeper. You build better connections, I feel, with the client, and you directly are connected. You don't the hierarchy is very short, is not very, you don't have to go through multiple people. Then you also get work like in different criterias, like you're not stick to one client, especially you can work in multiple clients throughout the 3 years tenure, and you get exposure in multiple domains like audit, taxation, compliances, and other work. The cons would, I would say, that you get very few listed clients. It depends on your firm, especially. So I was not really given much exposure to it. So I switched. So this is one of the major cons, and definitely that you're not exposed to the corporate world very fast in the early ages. But it doesn't really make a difference after clearing CA, to be honest. Like it's all same. It just depends upon what kind of work you have done, and it's very important on that. So this is one of the things.
Fair, I think nicely put out. Aishwarya.
Yeah. So one major pros I would say of Big Four is the brand value that you get. It would tend to open a lot of doors for you. Like once you clear, a lot of big companies have this condition that you will have to have done your articleship from Big Four. Even if I've even heard stories wherein you're a ranker in CA final, and yet they tend to sometimes prefer someone who's done a articleship in Big Four. So the value goes a long way. Second pro would be that you do learn a lot, and especially if you're working on some big client, then you learn what are the requirements of working in a listed client, or and you learn a lot. Like there are a lot of very very bright minds over there. You would be around people who are quite smart, and yeah, that itself tends to, like, even if not, like, I would say based on your field, you will also personally learn a lot. You will groom your personality, and you'll get exposed to the corporate culture, and all of that is a big plus point. Cons, I would say that some people tend to get teams which are not really supportive. Then it kind of gets very difficult to manage studies along with articleship. But that's not like a standard rule. It really depends upon what kind of team you get, and that's one of the con. Apart from that, I guess another con could be that, yeah, you see only one area. Like for example, since I was an audit, I don't know ABCs of tax. I find it difficult even to like file complicated returns of my own. So that's that.
Got it. If you were given a chance to go back, would you choose a mid-sized firm over a Big Four for articleship?
No, never.
Okay. Got it. Kushagra, over to you. I saw a smile when she mentioned if the team is not supportive, you must have
Yeah,
won your
yeah.
academics.
No, that's a very, like, I was just resonating with almost everything Aishwarya was mentioning.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll start with the pros divided into two things. One is during the articleship tenure, what you get in terms of knowledge, and after the articleship period, in terms of job, how it helps you out. During the articleship, like I mentioned, my primary reason for choosing is polishing. When you know, or if you're leaning towards a corporate kind of a setup long term, definitely how to speak, how to write mails, how to synthesize thoughts. Everything works a bit more in a more structured manner in a big four, right? They already have templates to go about on how to do things. So it exposes you to that. And yeah, I thought had a lovely experience actually. My team was super nice across the 3 years. I worked with different teams, different clients, listed, non-listed, even had some manufacturing exposure, even though I was in FS. So yeah, I had a very good exposure. My team was super supportive of my studies, got a very good study leave also. But like now coming to the cons, as Aishwarya mentioned, Big Four experience is very personal. Like it can be like I had a very good one versus a very bad one. I have friends who were just stuck with bad teams, bad clients for a very long time, working unreasonable hours consistently. That did affect their studies for sure. But yeah, it tends to change basis your team, not necessarily basis the Big Four. A lot of conversations happen ki, okay, EY is maybe a tougher spot versus a Deloitte, let's say, in terms of work-life balance. Maybe partly true, but largely it's your manager who really carries how your experience goes. So yeah, that's on the con side of not knowing what you might get stuck in a bad soup also. But yeah, I feel in study leave though most Big Fours are very supportive. Like they'll give you the full time. Sorry, I think now the rules are changing. I think there's a
Yeah,
2 year
yeah.
thing, so that won't really make a difference. But all in all, yeah, that would be my take on the pro and con.
Right. How did you manage your academics with articleship, in like especially with
Uh
KPMG?
Yeah, so it was pretty. So I don't like giving a lot of study advice, like how you should study and what you should study. The only thing I like to mention again and again is finish your lectures during your articleship. Do not wait for your study leave to finish your lectures. That time should solely and only be for your revision. So, and I was in actually in NM also. So the first 6-8 months, COVID had not hit back then. So I was going to lectures in the morning. And sorry, nursing only is a attendance college, so you got to go like 75%, 80%. And yeah, mornings were lectures, then days were office, and nights were maybe a little bit of studies, but mostly weekend. I think weekend is where I found my time to study. And study as in watch lectures. I didn't really study during my articleship. I just watched lectures. That is the only thing I was super consistent with.
Got it. And how many months leave did you get at KPMG?
Uh, all in all, it was a good 5 months.
Got it.
5.5 months, yeah.
Got it. Fair. Naina, what do you about your pros and cons?
So yeah, firstly, you get exposure of every profiles. If I can relate with the students here, you're not clear what profession to choose, whether to go in auditing or taxation. So if you're confused, then going into a mid-sized firm really opens a gate for you, and you get to know every work. But yeah, again, you're not specialized in anything. You know everything, as Aishwarya mentioned, she doesn't know taxation. I know that, but I was also not very specialized in auditing too.
Hmm.
So yeah, we get exposure for every profiles. And that too, your works gets changed in every month. Like 1 month you're working on an auditing client, next month you're working on an indirect tax client. So work doesn't get monotonous. Like it's not the same thing over days and days and days. Also, you get flexible hours when there is not the time of due dates. You get flexibility for your studies. And if you're coming from a small tier 3 cities like me, you don't have to shift your whole home to a bigger city. So it's more flexible for those who are in small city. So
Got
yeah, yeah. And the for cons, yeah, you do lose a point of brand value as we discussed. That's the first thing. And But if you have experience, if you are confident, you eventually get there. And currently, as I'm working in Deloitte right now, I kind of compare that here we have lots of standards and templates, and which is very good. But in mid-size firm, you get to figure out your work. There is no much more guidance. So you get to figure out your work, so your mind works very fast and very sharp sometimes. So that's also a very good advantage I got. As I joined in COVID 2020, my articleship, so I had very less seniors. So I either had to talk with my partner or I had to figure out on my own what to do. So I preferred to figure out my own first, as talking to a partner is not everything you can do daily for your small queries. So yeah,
Got it.
that felt even good.
Got it. Fair. That's a very good granular answer. Just one quick thing here. So, Asta, let's say if I ask you that if you go back to your time, do you think you would want to switch to a Big Four for articleship?
I think yes, because it does create a good brand value after clearing CA, I felt. Not for industrial training, but after clearing CA, like Ashwarya mentioned, a lot of look only for the ranker, only for the Big Fours. Even for first year attempt, they do prefer that. So I would definitely want a Big Four. But because of college, I had a full-time attendance college, so it was difficult to get into Big Four that time. So that
Got
was
it.
the main reason.
Nena, would your answer also be similar?
No, actually. Actually, initially I wanted to get into Big Four, but I had not the circumstances to move into the new city. And I come from a very conservative family, as many girls can relate today also, I can feel that. So, no, but still I had a very good familiar environment and I got a good placement also. So yeah, it was a bit difficult than Big Four students, of course. But you get your way when you're chartered, so.
Right. No, that's a very good way of putting it. There's a guy who's asked in the chat box, are they going to talk about package and the stipends? So let's quickly touch upon the stipends part as well. So quickly, in a minute, if you guys can just mention first year, second year, third year, what are the range of stipends that you guys had gotten or like people can expect?
Yeah, I can cover maybe KPMG. The packages were, I think, 15, 20, 25 when we were doing our articleship, but due to some timing difference, I think the first and second year, because of how we joined and something, first and second year, both years, I think we got 15, and the last year we got 25. Something interesting about KPMG, no, I'm not sure if all Big Fours do this. They have a bonus thing also, which is approximate 1 month stipend basis your performance for all 3 years. And after you finish your CA, which is basically around, let's say I finished in May, July-ish when we got our result, and my articleship went up till October. So for the July to October period, even though it was technically articleship, I was being paid a senior's salary, which is like I was being paid a salary. So that was a huge, like a 4x, 5x versus the stipend for
So it
the
was a
last 4 months.
1.25 lakhs per month, is it?
Not, I think 80-ish, something around those lines, the net of tax or whatever it comes to. So that was a big jump, which I was not expecting. Like the just salary credited in July, and I found out what this is like, what just happened. So that was pretty fun.
Right.
Yeah, that's the numbers I think for Big
So
Fours.
how did you spend your first salary, which you got 85,000 per month?
I think a few gifts for family. Then I was traveling. I think I traveled a lot last year. So yeah,
Got it. Cool. For the
yeah.
mid-sized firm, what can one expect? Maybe Asta or Nena, anyone wants to take?
So it
Yeah.
actually depends from three. In the first year, it can range from 2.5 as it is the default one by the institute to it can range to 5,000 also or 10,000 also. Some firms do give in the first year. So for me, it was 3, 5, and 7. And it depends on your firm actually. It can go up to 15,000 also. It can be the default 2,500, 3,000, and 3,500 also. So it really depends on your firm, I feel.
Right. And Nena, was it something similar for you?
Yeah, it started from 2 actually. It's a very major disadvantage of being in a mid-sized firm. So it goes from 2, 3, and 5 for me. So
Got it.
yeah, I was very disappointed initially, but money is not in play here.
Right.
We focus on learning, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I know. I mean, even मेरा भी stipend was 3.5, 4 in a city like Mumbai, जहाँ पे मतलब the cost of living
Oh
is
my
extremely
God.
high. So I was
Yeah.
getting 3.5, 4,000, and there was a scholarship from ICI that I used to get 2,000, no, 1,000 per month, and
2000, I think,
2,000,
no? Yeah,
2,000. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
2000.
Yeah.
2,000 per month, and 1,000 per month was from my hostel. So my monthly earning used to be 6,000 per month, and I used to spend around 5,000 per month. So this is how I remember my
Yeah.
stipend and all. There's one interesting question by Rutuja in the chat box. Maybe Aishwarya, you can take this. So, like, how are the working hours in Big Four, and how do you manage, like, if like there is a lot of pressure or if there's a lot of deadline? How do you manage working in a Big Four, and how do you tackle that pressure?
Yeah, so working hours normally depend upon like your deadlines.
Mm.
By deadlines, I just don't mean the year end. We also have a lot of internal deadlines, which you will come to know when you come. It's basically like they have their own deadlines. This process or this should be completed by this date. This should be completed by this date. We call it MMP deadlines in KPMG. But yeah, so it really depends upon the deadline.
What is MMP, by the way?
Oh, I forgot.
Okay, MMP.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
feel something milestone
Yeah,
related. I'm
milestone
even
mapping,
something like
something.
that. Yeah, not very
Yeah.
sure.
okay.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of deadlines and audit, like walkthroughs, test of controls, and yeah. So whenever there are those deadlines, and even like quarter ends, you have limited reviews. At those times, you will not get to really study much. You'll have to spend mostly your weekends also in work. But the other days, you'll be able to manage. And even when you're working, if you're in the deadline period, if you're able to manage it quite effectively, I think that you will be able to make out at least 2 to 3 hours a day for lectures. That it isn't that big of an issue the way that it is projected to be. Honestly, I feel that I even know a lot of people in in mid-size who work a lot. So working hours per se, it's not that much of a difference.
Got it. What's the highest number of working hours you have worked in a day?
Um, Morning, okay. I don't know, 14, 15 before I qualified. After I qualified, it has been more.
Okay, more than 14, 15.
I mean,
My God.
there are, I'll tell a little bit about the perks.
Two, three
When
people dropped
it's,
off after you said 14, 15. I saw the count, the participant count.
that was very rare. Just clearing the context, it was very rare. And after I cleared, also, it was during my year-end times. So you get a lot of perks for working in Big Four. So when the pressure is too much, like I stay far away from office. So they rented a hotel for me and made me stay in a good five-star hotel so that I could sleep there for 4 hours and come back to work.
Okay. Which hotel was this?
It was Lemon Tree.
Got it. Kushagra is used to staying in all these hotels now since he's in PG. That's like he,
Yeah, yeah, it's a different life. Yeah.
yeah. Maybe we'll do a separate webinar of life of a consultant, but yeah, it's a long topic altogether. But
Yeah.
one quick thing here. So there's also one question which a lot of people are asking on how do you decide where do you do articleship? So even this was a question which even I had. Like there is auditing, there is taxation. Taxation may also GST, direct tax, transfer pricing, international tax. Audit may also statutory audit, concurrent audit, internal audit, etc. Some people are lucky enough to get valuations and finance articleship domains as well. So Kushagra, if you want to throw some light on how should
Yeah,
one decide which kind
yeah,
of domain to get into, that'll be helpful.
yeah. So again, I started the conversation also. It's a highly personalized answer. So it depends on completely on what you want, and completely on what you want. Maybe after you finish your articleship, and if you have a goal of 10 years down the line versus you don't know what you want, it can completely vary. How I would go about structuring it is thinking about what is next for me. Is it a corporate life? Is it a deep dive into professional services? If you want to deep dive into professional services, let's say audit and tax, and auditors and tax are very, it's a myopic view to look at it as the services that CAs provide. CAs provide such a vast variety of services when it comes to compliance, like Nana was mentioning, regulatory. I met a CA from Jaipur. He's like 40 years old and he's just built an empire out of RERA consultancy, RERA advisory. So lot of domains that you can venture into as a CA giving professional services. So if that is your goal, going towards professional services, starting your own practice, getting completely in depth into the audit or taxation, etc., then I really believe that mid-size kind of a opportunity is a great way to start the career. And at a mid-size, which is giving you the opportunity to learn audit, tax, XYZ. It shouldn't be a audit specific mid-size answer, right? It should be giving you the opportunity to learn across the different domains so that you can figure out, okay, this is something I like, this is something I want to give my advice in going or specialize, get my niche in the future. I want to set my stuff up, etc. That is the one approach. If professional services is where you want to deep dive into. The other approach, which is you don't know slash you want to go into the corporate setup long term. If the answer is you don't know, want to get into a corporate setup long term, I think for both of them the answer can be a big size, can be a big four kind of a setup because it gives you the option to delay decision making. For me, that was the answer. Like it helped me delay decision making of what I wanted next. Audit, I feel, is a very broad domain which doesn't, at least the articleship period doesn't give you expertise in audit. So you can definitely use that as an anchor of getting to any other field later down the line. So it's okay doing audit and just completely shifting to anything else later. So and Big Four helps with the brand value, like Ashwarya mentioned multiple times. Like even I saw that after my finals, the kind of opportunities that were coming, there was a bit of a difference. We saw a Big Four versus non-Big Four. So when you don't have an answer, slash you want to look at a corporate kind of a setup, I think Big Four can give you a good head start.
Got it. Fair. Asa, you'd like to add something to that? How can one decide which firm of field to choose for articleship? You're on mute.
Right, sorry. So if they really want to specialize in one field, I would suggest for Big Four definitely, as they get to for a audit or taxation or any particular one. So now on, people also choose investment banking. So if you really want to go into valuations or mergers and acquisitions specifically, and you're not getting a Big Four, then you can go for a mid-sized firm and get into investment banking there. And if you are not very sure about which domain to choose, you can go for a mid-sized firm where you will get exposure of all the domains at the same point in the 3 years. So I would suggest in this manner to go about.
So, like, you can get articleship into investment banking in mid-sized firms as well.
Yeah, so now some of the firms are offering this. I'm not exactly sure about the names, but I have seen some of the posts on LinkedIn as well. So where they are hiring for a particular, the investment bankings have started hiring for CA articles as well. So now it's increasing.
Okay. I didn't know about this, about the investment
Yeah.
banking.
There are a few opportunities. I think I've also come across a few names which give that. I don't have them on my head, but yeah, there are a few options that give that option.
Yeah, I knew about Desai Haribhakti in the corporate finance department. They have a valuations department. But specifically about investment banking, I don't know any investment bank hiring for articles.
Yeah, it's not making an investment bank. Investment banking advisory, sort of like a mid-size, which is helping M&A transactions on a smaller scale. They're looking to get client, need someone for good research, drawing up a few term sheets, deals. There are like smaller players, definitely not a large investment bank. You're right about that.
Do you guys know anyone from your network who has got an articleship in the finance domain, like specifically in valuations or something like this?
Yeah, so corporate finance, I know a friend from Desai Haribhakti only. He actually got a rank also in All India Rank 5. So, and also one of them did industrial. So you can also go for industrial training and investment banking. So a lot of firms offer that also.
I think KNAV has a business advisory setup. KNAV gives some option as non-audit, non-tax. That is business advisory. There's, I think, yeah, that is the name right now I have.
Got it. Fair. One quick thing which a lot of people are also asking in the chat box. I was just going through the few questions. It's about like, let's say if we decide a particular domain in articleship and if we want to choose that domain itself, and if we are not happy with that, so taking transfer, like let's divide into two parts: mid-size to a big four, and then big four to a mid-size. How difficult it is to take transfers, firstly, and secondly, do these firms encourage taking transfers, or does it impact your resume in some manner?
Transfers are never like encouraged, but I have seen people in my firm also taken transfer from Big Four as they were confused or they were not able to handle that transition. Like going into a Big Four is a very major transition in your life when you're a student only. So I guess Kushagra and Aishwarya can even prepare students later how to prepare for it. So it is not a transition that you cannot handle.
Hmm.
So getting a transfer in mid-size firm is easier as here you are familiar with all the profiles, but I guess getting a transfer into Big Four is very difficult. They don't even prefer to take transferred articles. I've heard that often.
Okay. Anything to add, guys?
Yeah, I feel yeah, it hurts. I feel transferring from a big four to a mid-size. That will definitely. I know a friend who did that. It does hurt a bit your resume long term. So because it kind of gives the impression that you're not cut out for a corporate kind of a setup. So that is a challenging position. I'm thinking, yeah, mid-size to big four getting a transfer, again, tough exceptional cases, but if you get it, it'll add value versus transferring from a big four to a mid-size, it might hurt you.
Got it. But do these big fours take transfer cases? They accept like people from
Rare,
mid-size firm,
very rare. Usually references work.
unless you have like a partner reference and all.
Yeah, references work. Yeah, mostly references are. Otherwise, it's pretty tough. Yeah.
Got it.
And like usually they prefer transfer cases which are like less than 6 months. I've never seen anyone more than 6 months get in.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the reason of this?
I don't know, just that the one previous attempt up to that they are willing to take in. After that, especially we had this thing where we can only transfer up to 1 year, right? It does kind of get difficult after you crossed your
Yes,
six
yes.
months.
Yeah,
Got it.
I mean, they would expect an output of a 6-month-old article, who's starting in a big four, and they're not at par with a big four 6-month article, right? With in respect to the working style, not necessarily, of course, their knowledge will be very nice and good, but working style wise, they will expect a 6-month-old article working style. So, and 1 year down, if the answer was 1 year down transfer 1 year down the line, that would be even more difficult to adjust.
Got it. Specifically, like Aishwarya and Kushagra, can you also like help everyone understand what are like the domains, different type of domains where people can do their articleship if they get into a big four? Like there are a lot of different domains. So can you list them down and can you help them what exactly is the profile in each domain basis your experiences?
Oh. Okay, so
Yeah.
one would be statutory audit. Like in audit itself, you can either have statutory audit or you can have internal audit, or there's some risk advisory. I think that is
Yeah,
also
that's internal
internal
audit.
audit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's internal. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard that in risk advisory, you also sometimes do like concurrent audits and those kind of
Mm.
stuff. Yeah. And the tax, I guess, like this DT, IDT practices, and then there is M&A. I think
Transfer
but I'm
pricing,
not,
yeah.
yeah, not that many articles get
Correct.
into all of those things. There may be like one or two. So major hiring usually happens in audit side of it.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, exactly that. I think those are the three domains that you get it in. Yeah.
Got it. And Muskan is also asking, is it really in our hands to choose the domain of our articleship, or like we have to just go ahead with whatever is given to us?
No, definitely in your hands, right? You can, if you say I don't want to do it in audit, they will not take you. No, matlab, yeah. If you say your preference, it's about how stubborn you are. If you really want to do it in transfer pricing, you either do it in transfer pricing, or you don't do it from that firm.
Hmm.
They can't force you to do it, right? So.
Yeah, but let's say like a lot of people don't have the luxury of doing an articleship in Big Four, and if they want to
Right.
get into Big Four, I think in that case, would they still have the freedom to choose the domain, or they'll have to just go ahead with whatever they have been given?
So it's never like you are given something. Like for example, you are, if you're applying for audit, then it may happen that you ask for statutory and you get internal, something like that.
Correct. You might ask for FS as a sector, but you might
Hmm.
get manufacturing. So those kind of things will happen. But it's if you're applying for tax and then they offer you audit, which will be rare in my understanding.
Yeah.
But even if that happens, then you're right. If they don't have vacancies in tax, then you have to you have to take that choice. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
Fair, got it. Cool. I think this is a good summary of the discussion so far. One quick question to all of you guys. There's also Siddhant who's asking in the chat box about your MBA plans and is like, does your articleship experience impact your MBA colleges or MBA universities wherever you want to get into? So, are you guys planning for an MBA firstly?
Actually, I am doing MBA, but it's a private online MBA from Manipal University, Jaipur. I
Okay.
started my MBA after I qualified recently only. So I did that as to have a more brand value. As they mentioned, I am from a mediocre firm, so I am currently working on adding some good brand values to my resume. So
Hmm.
first, I have this Big Four tag. So yeah, but doing that along with the articulation might be difficult as you have to study for your finals also. You're doing office and it gets 10 to 12 hours. We all know that. So I don't think so. It will be very easy doing MBA along with your articleship and your studies.
No, as an MBA, after
As
like you
yeah,
qualify, like after 2-3 years, let's say
yeah,
you have worked in
yeah.
BCG for 2-3 years, if you want to get into an MBA. So I'm just asking, like, does your articleship experience help in your MBA applications?
So yeah, I'll try to take that. Yeah, first to your question, whether you're thinking an MBA, big question mark in my life since the past 1 year. Like yeah, I've been breaking my head on this since the last year, so I don't really have an answer. It's between doing it in India versus trying to do it abroad versus not doing it. So very confused right now, to be
Can
very
you
honest.
also can you help us understand what are the factors you are considering before taking this decision? I'm sure you would have listed down all the pros and cons of doing an MBA in India, outside India, and not doing an MBA.
Very painful conversation. Full year it's been. I've broken everyone heads around me. I've like a lot of my colleagues are I'm Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. Full day our lunch table conversations was this only me asking them what is next, what's next. So see, it again depends on where you are and how much you've been exposed to, and doing once if you're in a management consulting kind of a setup, especially a McKinsey Bain BCG, then the exit for a good MBA, a very good MBA in India, let's say ABC, is maybe 30-40% of the cohort goes to McKinsey Bain BCG, a management consulting kind of a domain. So then the exit opportunity from an Indian MBA kind of becomes it's quite similar to where you are already. If you are already in an MBB, if not, then very good option. And still, I was quite seriously considering I really want to live that MBA life. I just want to experience that. That has been that's been a dream for a while. So that really that is one of the aspects to consider. The other is yeah, for an MBA. Again, this is all coming from my perspective because I'm in BCG. So a foreign MBA is also something I'm considering right now, which can help. Again, I don't want to settle abroad. I'm sure I want to come back to India, which is why I don't prefer that idea a lot. At the same time, I really want to do an MBA that adds value. So that's why foreign MBA is something I'm also considering. But other than that, if you are working at a good reputed company in India 1-2 years and then trying to get into an Indian MBA, great choice. I think CA MBA combination is a very killer combination.
Right. And any specific answer on your articleship experience? Does that help you in
Sorry.
your MBA applications?
Don't think so. I mean, yeah, I don't have enough knowledge on this yet. Indian MBA applications, I think they don't consider that as like if you are from a big four versus a mid-size, definitely not. I don't think that gets considered. CA as a whole gets considered. The percentile for getting into Ahmedabad or a Bangalore, if you are a CA, is much better than much lower than, let's say, an engineering person. So I know people right now. I know people who have got into Ahmedabad next rounds, 98 percentile, 97 percentile, who are CAs. So the percentile reduces if you are a CA.
Got it. But nothing
But
about the articleship experience.
not to my knowledge, I'm not aware of it at least.
Got it. Fair. And regarding the exit opportunities of people doing articleship in Big Four versus a mid-size, so is it like the exit opportunities in a Big Four would be much lucrative and as compared to exit opportunities from a mid-size firm? So what would be your thoughts in terms of exit opportunities? And you can also relate to your personal life. How did your articleship help you get where you are today? So Asta, maybe we can begin with you, and then we can go to Aishwarya.
Yeah. So definitely big four articles do get a lot of preference over small size or mid size. So if you are not a ranker, then you have to be first attempt and a big four for a lot, or you have to have first attempt with industrial training for a lot of good opportunities I felt regarding while I was applying. So the only criteria for doing industrial training was to get a brand value in my CV and to get a corporate exposure, and that genuinely very it helped a lot. It like in every interview, I was not asked about my articleship, even a percentage, and it was completely based on my industrial training.
Can you
So
throw some light on your industrial training experience as well?
yeah, so industrial training is very varied. Like I have heard from some of the peers that you get a very good quality of work, and in some you are just meant to be like you are just sitting in the office and doing nothing as such, contributing nothing as such. So in my experience, I was working with Indian Oil in the accounts department, but it was a very good exposure since I was working for the Eastern region consolidation and the MIS reporting. I had a good knowledge of SAP as well, making presentations for my seniors. So it helped me get good opportunities after clearing CA. But if I would not have done, I think I would have got very few opportunities, and it would have affected my uh, the post articleship period, post CA period, I mean. So yeah, this is it. So industrial training is also you have to be very conscious about where you're going and what work you would be given, because some of the interns in my own organization was given really bad work. Like it was not a good quality. They had to just do some basic works and data entry or something like that. So you have to be very sure about what you are going to get actually.
Right. And what was your work profile like? How would your typical day look like while your industrial training was going on?
So I had weekly reporting, monthly reporting, quarterly reporting, and annual reporting. So quarter ends was very hectic. It was Monday to Sunday, 10 to 8 on like and for the entire month. But on a daily basis, it would just be to prepare reports, to handle the variance reconciliation was a major part about how to come up about the reasons for the profit reconciliation statement, preparing for that, multiple reports. And yeah, some of the data entry work was there, but very basic, and it gave a good exposure only overall.
Got it. Fair. Aishwarya, anything you want to add about the exit opportunities?
Yeah, so it does help, like the brand value of Big Fours, it opens a lot of doors because a lot of companies have this preference that they want someone from Big Four. So in that case, it would help a lot. And sometimes it also helps when you like get into like if you have this cushions, you have this safety cushion, because whenever you do this articleship in a Big Four, they are anywhere ready to hire you back. So you have this benchmark that this much salary that I'm anyway gonna get. So I will anyway look for something which is better. So you have the safety cushion, which is better than a lot of other people. Like the salaries at mid-size offer would be less as compared to what a Big Four offers. So your safety cushion would be much higher. So you would in turn be able to confidently look for even better opportunities. That's something I feel.
Got it. Perfect. Cool.
Yeah,
So
actually adding to
yeah, no, no.
Shwarya, it is very true. My one friend was a Big Four article, so he got hired for a level up position than me. So it really affects.
Got it. Yeah, I've also heard that usually if you do your articleship from Big Four and if you get absorbed, the package which you'll get would be 15 to 20% higher as compared to a person who has done articleship from a mid-sized firm and is then absorbed in a big four. So this is also something which happens in the industry. But cool, I think this was a super, super insightful conversation. Last question in the interest of time before we take questions from the audience is if you were to advise all these people about how do they choose and where should they go in whether in big four or mid-sized firm in just 60 seconds, what is your piece of advice to all of them? So again, Asta, Aishwarya, Kushagra, and Nena, one by one.
I would suggest if you are able to manage time and you want to get into corporate definitely, then I would suggest Big Four for sure. If you want exposure, if you're looking to open your own practice and you want to get diverse exposure, then I would suggest you to go for a mid-sized firm.
Okay, very crisp and short, Aishwarya.
Yeah, pretty much same. If you're looking for a career ahead and corporate, then definitely try for a big four. Like there's no downside to it at all. Like your career would be built in a better trajectory that you wouldn't be able to see right now, but yeah, it pays off long term like a lot. Once you clear your CA, you'll be able to see the difference. And yeah, if you're looking to start a practice, or maybe if you're looking that you definitely want exposure in a lot of areas, like you cannot sacrifice that you are specialized into one and you don't know the other area, then maybe you should go for a big four. But I would say that big four, sorry, then maybe you should go for mid-size. I would say that big four is definitely worth a try though.
Okay, that's a diplomatic answer, but yeah, fair. Kushagra.
Super similar to what both asked Aishwarya said. Like I started professional services. If you want to deep dive into it, learn about everything and everything, anything that a CA does, mid-size, where you can learn that, not somewhere where you're only doing audit. Otherwise, yeah, Big Four. Very similar answers.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty much same with Ishwarya and Vishal. It depends on your career goals. If you want to start a practice in your future, then you should join mid-size firm. And it, as you learn work there, you also learn how to snatch clients, how to deal with clients in a very closure manner. And yeah, if you want to have a career, good career in job, then Big Four is should be your first preference. It gets you advantage.
Got it. Cool. I think after talking to all of you, especially Kushagra and Aishwarya, I am also thinking if I could have gone back in my time, I could have done my articleship from a big four probably. Or maybe after talking to Asta, like at least industrial training is something which I should have had done, but okay, it's fine now. No
I
point.
think your life turned out pretty well, no, Kushal, for you to be making questions about what you should have done or done. Like I think
Exactly.
yeah, I mean that's what you're doing pretty great for making those comments. So, yeah.
No, no, nothing like. I mean, thanks for those kind words, but I mean, I also regret sometimes of not doing articleship from a big four or not doing industrial training. But ठीक है, regret करके कुछ फायदा तो है नहीं, because अभी वापस जा तो सकते हैं नहीं. But ठीक है, that's fine. BCG में भी I
You're
think
already
like, I
winning
didn't good.
hearts.
I wish like everyone could say that, but BCG में भी हुआ नहीं था. So Kushagra, you know, like at least like my case was like I went to final rounds, but वहाँ पे भी नहीं हुआ. तो
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I didn't go to the big four, I didn't go to industrial training, I didn't get into MBB where I always wanted to get into. तो कुछ हुआ ही नहीं जो life में चाहिए था. So ठीक है, अभी चलता है.
Yeah, but I think you're doing much better than things than what we are doing for sure. मतलब फालतू में बटर वटर नहीं कर रहा, but ठीक है.
नहीं नहीं.
मतलब things have turned out pretty good. So
No, I think thanks a lot, God, and God has been kind so far.
yeah.
And it's because of all of you guys as well, by the way. So everyone needs guidance and mentorship, I think. So I think I've realized that that's like a big thing and big help which people need nowadays. So it's people like you who already have known, like who have crossed the path and who want to give back to the fraternity. Because of you guys, I am able to just be a mediator, and via you guys, I am just passing the relevant information so people can take the right decisions. So that's the only purpose. But thank you so much, guys, for doing this. We'll take a few questions in the next 10 minutes. So, guys, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat box. I'll request if you can type the name of the person also whom you want to ask any questions to. We'll take it in the next 10 minutes. And then I also have, like, if you have any other questions, I'll stay back after 12:15 also, and I'll answer all your questions for the next half an hour as well. So don't worry about that, about the generic questions that you have. So let's take the first question here. Yash Nagdev is asking, can we do like this? Say in the new scheme, we have compulsorily 2 years. So can we do 1 year from Big Four, and after being a CA, then we can have a single year articleship in a mid-sized firm so that we can start practice. So I think the question is 2 साल की articleship में 1 साल Big Four कर लिया, second year mid-size कर लिया, तो दोनों का exposure आ गया, and ultimately he wants to start practice. So is this a right option, or is this a right way of going ahead?
Yeah, if he doesn't want to get into job, then it is okay. But if he goes to apply somewhere, then it will hurt resume as we discussed. It will be a bad mark on his resume that he switched to a mid-size firm. So yeah, it shows that he was not able to take pressure or something of a corporate culture. But he want to start a practice. This is even a good strategy.
Okay, fair.
When you open a practice, in your city, you get famous that he's a Big Four article, and now he's working, he's starting a practice. So yeah, it happens.
Got it. Yash Oswal is asking to Kushagra, if someone wants to get into management consulting, which domain ideally we should choose for articleship?
Yeah, I don't think it really makes a lot of difference which domain you're from. I would suggest not going into tax, maybe something very niche, like something very specific is not necessarily tax, but anything very specific. Just for the Actually, I really don't think it'll make a difference if you want consulting, because none of the experience makes a difference, right? Matlab, what I did in audit really doesn't make a difference to what I'm doing right now. But yeah, Big Four is a good criteria to have rather than domain. But yeah, domain, I think audit is a safe option because it's a more generic option. Yeah.
Okay, fair. Again, the username of this guy is Toxic Blood. Wow, what creative guys have joined in this session. So Toxic Blood is asking, my question is to Kushagra, what work you get in FS? I wanted to know what exactly have you done in KPMG, your work profile and your entire routine.
So yeah, work in FS, basically I was exposed to 3-4 different types of client. Main client was NBFC, a good NBFC lending, lending book of around 60,000 crores. Good NBFC. Over there, the details of the work was a test of controls, test of details, end to end, owning specific pieces of the balance sheet slash income statement and bringing that to closure with respect to doing your vouching verification. Like you always start with statutory dues. That is the first thing you will audit or verify in a Big Four, and then you go on to handling more interesting areas. I picked up interesting revenue areas down the second, third year. So yeah, NBFC. Then I did a US GAAP audit for a bank as well, and there was a portfolio management company that I worked with as well. So yeah, 2-3 different different within FS only, 2-3 different types of client. Yeah.
Got it. Fair. There's a next question by Sarthak again. Okay, I think Kushagra is the favorite of everyone here. Sarthak is asking, how did you do your regular college with articleship in a Big Four? What were the timings of your office and the college? How did you manage both?
Right. I think Asta also mentioned she also did a full attendance college along with her articleship. What basically it was what I think 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. is what the college hours were. Usme last lecture used to bunk. So 10 o'clock tak used to leave from college, reach articleship 11 o'clock. Then that used to go until night, and then that was maybe 6-8 months. Then COVID hit. So lectures were online where we were sleeping, and then we were working. Yeah.
So I mean, you used to work and study for from 7 to 10, 11, is it?
Like the combined thing, yeah, morning to night, yeah, for those 6-8 months. That was in fact during my. It was more rigorous during my inter study period, right? Because that was like 8 hours of lectures and college was regular. So inter study time I feel was more rigorous than my articleship plus maybe because COVID hit again. That's why I'm saying this. So yeah.
Got it. Fair. Let's take the next question here. Aishwarya, you can take this. Purva Chaudhary is asking, is it compulsory to apply for the pre-result interviews if you want to get into Big Fours?
No, like there was a lot of pre-result drives earlier, but nowadays I feel pretty much a lot of Big Fours do it around result time or like 1 or 2 days before result time. So it wouldn't matter if you apply post-result, but I would say that apply at least within a week of your result because they will be getting a lot of applications and they would have some basis which might most probably be FIFO basis to like select candidates because once the vacancies are done, it might be possible that you applied for something, but you're getting something else. All of those issues might crop up. So, one good thing to do would be pre-result itself, like maybe get your resume ready and those sort of things, so that post-results, once you're confirmed, you could just like start shooting out to people and get started with the process.
Fair. Next question is by Kajal Shah. Kushagra sir, what's the major difference that makes you select statutory audit or internal audit as an article?
So internal audit is more process driven, as I understand, rather than the again, don't have a lot of insights into internal audit, not done that a lot. But firstly, though, the pool of candidates that they will hire for statutory audit will be much greater than the pool of candidates they'll hire for internal audit. So it is easier to get in compared. I think it's easier to get in. That was one aspect. The other is, yeah, internal audit for me was very process driven and very understanding how the processes work rather than understanding maybe how the business works. Little bit, I think statutory audit made the walkthroughs and understanding the business line items. That was a bit more front facing. Again, I'm not aware a lot about how internal audit works. Maybe someone else can take that up. But statutory audit just seemed like something that is more engaging in terms of the front end exposure to how businesses work.
Got it. Anyone who's done internal audit articleship or anyone who's worked in internal audit from the panel? No, right?
Yeah, I had only
Okay.
one client of
Okay.
internal audit. So yeah, exactly. I will agree with Kushag. It's not a front end work, it's a very back end work. So if you want to deep dive into procedures, then only internal audit can help. But yes,
Okay.
external stat is better, as per my view only. It's very subjective.
So what exactly is the difference between internal audit and statutory audit?
Um, yeah, basically the client interactions and the finalization of works. When you have statutory audits, we have more decision making parts and we are finalizing the everything, every procedures and every accounts, every statements. Where internal auditors, we are majorly checking their procedures, every like P2P and all that. I have not done many internal audit, only I just only had one client.
Got it. From what I understand, actually, statutory audit is like independent third-party audit where you are a firm like independently auditing.
Yeah,
Internal audit is
exactly.
like you are employees of the company itself and you have a separate internal audit team. So the independence bias would be there in the internal audit case, but there wouldn't be any bias. Like it'll be proper independent in the statutory audit. And at least as far as my experience is concerned, like stat audit, it's a very rigorous audit because you have to check each and everything. Internal audit happens on a frequent basis, like you have to do internal audit almost let's say every month or every quarter. Statutory audit will be for a
Yes.
period of 1 year, and you are required to like do that proper auditing about a particular entity. At least this is what I have experienced. Let's take the last question in the interest of time. So there are a lot of questions actually, and all of them are so relevant. I'm just confused which ones to take. Do you know any guys in your network, by the way, who have got some articleship opportunities outside India as well, or they have got some international exposure while pursuing their articleship? There's a question which Afsa Sheikh has asked.
Not very
No
sure,
idea.
but KNAV may there is a international assurance practice
Hmm.
which deals with a lot of Canada and US clients.
Hmm.
So I have friends who are definitely working for US and Canada clients.
Hmm.
Did they go there? I'm not very sure. Maybe once, but yeah, no, not very sure. Definitely clients you can get USK, but whether you get to go over there, all that, I'm not very aware.
Hmm. Got it. Cool. We'll take the last question by Nilanjan Chatterjee. He has asked this question 5 times to Kushagra. If I apply for articleship in EY Pune and get selected, can I get relocated in any other place in the same company if I request? Maybe you can switch this to KPMG. But does this happen, relocation city-wise?
Sorry, so he has applied for a position in Pune and wants to relocate.
Yeah, can he relocate after, let's say, 6 months or 1 year in the same company?
All of this is very exception based. It depends on maybe the relation and how good your manager is, how much they're willing to maybe want you to switch. And again, if you're doing a good job, they wouldn't want you to switch. But also, yeah, not very aware of this.
But let's say
Don't know
you are
about
in
this.
KPMG Bombay and you want to go to KPMG, let's say Gurgaon. How easy or difficult does it happen? Like, can people take transfers in the same company to different cities?
Haven't
Not
heard of this person.
very
Yeah, as far as
common
I'm,
actually.
yeah, exactly. Haven't heard of this. Like,
But before
yeah,
joining, you can definitely negotiate your
correct,
office. Yeah,
correct,
once you
correct,
join, it's
correct,
not very.
correct. Yeah, I think that's the right way to put it. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. And let's take this last question by Kush. This is an interesting one. So he's saying that year one he wants to go in Big Four, year two in industrial training, and then after he's qualified, he wants to do a job in a mid-sized firm. So he's asking, does this affect our CV? And I'm unable to make my mind whether I want to do job or practice. So what's your advice to me? Anyone wants to take this?
So industrial will not really help for opening your own practice at all in any way.
Okay.
So if he is really determined to open his own practice, I would not suggest to go for industrial at all. To stick to either Big Four or to a mid-sized firm for the articleship period itself. Like, why to keep on switching if you're not going to that side?
Okay.
For
So
study management also, it will be very hectic to keep switching on to things.
And like honestly, I don't think once you experience, like unless you're very determined, once you experience the corporate culture, I don't think post qualification you'll want to be in a mid-size. That's what I feel.
actually, I agree to that. I mean, it's difficult after feel like working in a corporate. I don't know. I mean, how would you switch to a mid-sized firm? Uh,
Yeah,
like it would
most
be completely
probably
different.
would involve pay cut also. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's a beautiful way of cutting it down and summarizing the answers. So perfect, guys. I think it was lovely talking to all of you. Thank you so much for sparing time on a Sunday morning. And sorry for disturbing your sleep schedule. Guys, I'll wait for another half an hour. So if there's any question, feel free to type it in the chat box. I'll take it any which ways. But thank you so much, all four of you, for doing this. And I hope you had an amazing time. I hope if people reach out to you on LinkedIn, you would get some time, spare some time to reply to their queries as well. But yeah,
Yeah,
thank you so much
absolutely.
for doing this. Hope you had an amazing time.
Thanks, Kushal. Thanks for having us.
yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Vishal. Thank you for inviting us.
Perfect. Thank you. Cool, guys. So whatever questions you have, feel free to type them in the chat box. I'll be there taking it. Whatever questions you have, let me know what exactly would you want to understand. Let's take the questions. I think there were a lot of questions. Let's take it quickly. Okay, resume advice, Pranav. As for articleship, we don't have much prior experience. Then what should we add for weightage in the resume? Okay, let me do one thing. Resume, right? I had shown one resume. Let me share my screen, okay? And I'll show you one sample resume, which you can also use and which you can also have a look at. Okay, let me just open that resume. Just one sec. Yeah. So I'm just sharing my screen, and this is a resume of one of my friends, which I'll share it with all of you also. And you'll also get to know that how do you create your resume, okay? So ठीक है, if you see यहाँ पे like resume में again you don't have to mention any specific work experience because you are not going to have any work experience as such. But let's say if you have some achievements like All India rank in your foundation or intermediate, mention your contact email, LinkedIn link, mention the career objective, mention the academic qualifications which are there. जो भी तुमने किया है 10th 12th, if you've done any other course apart from CA, or if you're doing any other course, or if you've already enrolled in your BCom, just mention all those things here and mention about the skills and achievements. जो भी skills and achievements है, mention it in a very subtle manner. So I feel that this is a very clean and very neat form of resume. One pager, not more than that. I had like made a blunder and I had made a three pager CV where I had mentioned like a lot of things which were not even relevant in my resume. So just make sure that you are making these kind of resumes where you are just quickly in a subtle manner mentioning about the academic qualifications, skills and achievements, personal details, and what is the career objective. Since all of you, I'm sure like you're inter students, right? You don't have that work experience yet. So there wouldn't be any work experience section. So that is something which you need to prepare. Otherwise, तो देखो मैंने तो मतलब ये वाला format use किया था, but there was also like there was a work experience which was involved here because I was working in Aditya Birla Group, or maybe I had done my articleship. So this is also one format of resume that you can use, but the problem with this is that there wouldn't be anything to add here in the work experience section. Positions of responsibility, awards, achievements, and skills. You can add all the awards, all the achievements, and all the positions of responsibility, as in what kind of leadership skills you have, or maybe if you have organized any co-curricular activities in your school, what kind of activities, how many students were there. You can try to just ensure that you are adding these kind of things in the resume. So don't worry guys, I'll share both these formats with you. ये word document भी मैं share करूँगा. I hope all of you are there in the WhatsApp group which we have created. If you're not there, just reach out to the WhatsApp number, or I'll ask Shabd and Rushti from my team to just type the WhatsApp link, and you can just log into that WhatsApp group, and we'll share the resume format, and we'll also share the sample resume of my friend whom I was showing. Okay, so iska sample resume bhi I'll just quickly show it. And isme like again, like apart from this, we are also, by the way, like we are ensuring that all these resumes are also drafted in a very professional manner. So for example, in this resume, if you see, like it's a very one pager simple resume, and even in my resume, if you see, it's a simple one pager resume. I have reduced the font size and I've ensured that I'm adding each and everything. One key point of advice for all of you here is that in positions of responsibility, try to just write down some or the other thing and try to just remember कि तुमने कौन से activity में leadership दिखाया था या कौन से activity में you were the one who was driving the initiative. And trust me, if you just take out 1 hour or 2 hours in your day, you will get at least 3 or 4 points which you think कि हाँ ये मैं डाल सकता हूँ resume में. Most of the times what happen is that हम लोग सोच ही नहीं पाते कि डालना क्या है. And just think कि what exactly you have done in the last 12 years, 15 years or 18 years of your life, and if there is any initiative that you have taken, if there is any specific if there's any specific thing which you have done in your life about, let's say, leading something or just making one small initiative, like be it as simple as organizing a blood donation camp or organizing a student fest in my college, or let's say just organizing a camp for 25 people on teaching them about soft skills, or teaching rural kids about mathematics. Any small thing, even if it's a small thing for 10 people, 15 people, 20 people, it will show that you are a born leader and you have those leadership skills. So that's why you should mention that. Like for example, in my 8th grade, I was the co-curricular activities captain, and I had organized all the kinds of functions and events which were there in my school. Honestly speaking, अगर मैं आर्टिकलशिप में होता तो मैं इसको 4-5 लाइन में लिख सकता था. इसमें मैं डाल देता कि I had organized debate competition where more than 20 teams had participated, with two people in every team. I had organized Model United Nations where more than 500 delegates had attended that conference. I had organized a proper cricket tournament for all the class students where 120 participants were there, 11 teams of 11 people each. So ये जो भी है, मतलब all I'm trying to say is that you can write all these things. जो भी मतलब चीजें की है तुम लोगों ने स्कूल कॉलेजेस में, just try to write it in your resume. Okay, so this is how your resume is going to happen. And by the way, just quickly before we move on to the next question, right? Let me also just tell you and stop sharing the screen, and let me also show you like what exactly we have got for you in the Articleship Accelerator program. And this is also like resume building is also going to be covered in that accelerator program as well. So again, it's like for a small batch size of 30 students itself, and we are giving you like free basic Excel course, which will be a pre-recorded course of 10 hours by a trainer who has started IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore. We are going to give one mock interview to each candidate as well. I myself, I am going to ensure that one mock interview is given to all of you with a mentor working at Big Four. We have partnered with 5 mentors who are working at Big Four. I have prepared a proper interview cheat sheet for all of you, which will help you in order to understand how will you be able to, let's say, crack articleship interview. So just a quick sneak peek into the proper cheat sheet which is there. So if you just go here, so articleship interview cheat sheet version 2. So this is something which I have just prepared and which is like which I'm going to give in the course itself. So statutory audit में कैसे questions पूछ सकते हैं, then like finance में कैसे questions पूछ सकते हैं if you want to go for articleship. So this is something which I have prepared and this is something which we are going to give you as a part of resource also if you let's say register for this particular program as well. And apart from that, if you see like finance में if you go for articleship, there are questions like working capital क्या होता है, what is the debt to equity ratio, concept of time value of money, purpose of financial ratios, and all of them. So this is something which we are going to give you as part of the resource of the Articleship Accelerator program, and of course, the Articleship assistance will be given to you from our team. The course curriculum is simple. We have divided into 10 modules. Articleship overview, resume building, how do you create a resume, cracking interviews, 2 days. This also includes how to improve communication skills, where we are going to teach you about how do you improve on your cracking interviews, and you can ask all the previous career accelerator program batch students, which is a program for CA final students, that they also like immensely benefited from the cracking interview series which we just conducted last week. Group discussion for 2 days, again, how do you improve your communication skills in a GD. Email writing, how do you draft a proper email. We'll be giving a lot of activities and assignments on like drafting emails for minutes of meeting, drafting emails for board meeting resolutions and all of that, so which will help you to understand how do you draft a proper email. Basics of MS Office, all Word, PowerPoint, and Excel will be included here. And this is not something like we are just teaching you like how to use Word, PowerPoint, or Excel, but we are teaching you how do you present it in a very lucrative manner, and how do you make beautiful slides. How do you ensure that you are using like the basic functions in Microsoft Excel which are needed in your articleship. And lastly, we are going to teach you what are the other softer skills relevant in the job market, how you can use artificial intelligence in your articleship, and lastly, how do you build a personal brand on LinkedIn, which I am going to take myself, and teaching you how to create a good LinkedIn profile, how do you network with everyone on LinkedIn, how do you apply for HRs in Big Four or mid-size firm articleship, how do you create content on LinkedIn, what works, what does not work, and what is the importance of building your personal brand on LinkedIn. And again, activities where I'm going to help all of you to start creating content on LinkedIn and help you in order to build your own personal brand, which will ultimately help you. Again, here, like me and Yatharth are the trainers. Yatharth has done his articleship from KPMG and EY, and he's also an all India rank holder. And these are the student testimonials of our career accelerator program students. And if you are someone who wants to like upskill yourself in this particular module itself, you can just feel free to apply. We are going to screen candidates, interview them, and then only we are going to select the top 30 candidates whom we are going to groom for the next 10 days. This batch is starting from 15th Jan to 24th Jan, and the price we have kept it as rupees 10,000 plus GST, but we are also giving a scholarship of 20% to people who have scored more than 250 marks in their CA foundation. So that is something which we are any which way is going to give. So this is something which if you are interested, you can apply. I'll ask Shabda and Vrishti from my team to type the link in the chat box, and you can feel free to apply, and you can ask any questions that you have about the program as well. Okay, cool. Let's go back to the chat box here, and let's also try to answer the questions which are there. Okay, let's take the question. Harsh Agarwal is asking, I have option to go to Delhi and Mumbai for articleship. Where can I go according to you? Harsh, if you would ask me personally, I would suggest that you should definitely go to Mumbai for articleship. I feel Mumbai it's a financial capital of India, and the exposure that you will get here, the clientele which you will get here, I think those would be better. Although even Delhi, of course, like Delhi is also a good place, and it's like the capital of our country. There also you'll get a good exposure. I myself, I'm a big fan of Mumbai city, and I have stayed here for the last 7 years, and I know the exposure and the opportunities that Mumbai has given me as an individual. So I would recommend Mumbai because you after your Big Four articleship, you get a lot of industrial training opportunities in any company in Bombay, in any finance role as well. So I would recommend Mumbai over Delhi. Vaishnav is asking, I'm confused between forensic audit and international taxation. What would you suggest? Again, like just try to read some curriculum or content about both these topics. If you really enjoy forensic audit or if you really enjoy international taxation, you will get to know that, okay, after listening to someone who's speaking forensic audit, if you are enjoying that, then go for that. If you think that international taxation is something which you enjoy about, you can choose that. Asking about the scope, both of them are good fields, like even both of them are booming, like दोनों में पैसा बन सकता है अच्छे से. It's just that whatever is your personal interest, you will have to decide after watching a lot of YouTube videos, after talking to a lot of people who are working in both these companies or both these domains, and after deciding, like after working in at least one of the domains, which will help you to take a decision कि इसमें मजा आ रहा है या नहीं आ रहा है. That's the best way to go about this. Riya Pardeshi, I've already applied and I got the interview from your team. Oh, cool, Riya. Thank you so much for that. Let's take the next question. Harsh, I think I answered your question. Viraj Sapkal, it's my third attempt. So what extra course should I do to get into Big Four for articleship? Again, like if it's your third attempt, usually Big Four would prefer first attempt people, as all the panelists had mentioned. But if it's your third attempt, and if you are really passionate about, let's say, improving on your communication skills, and if you're really passionate about upskilling and getting to know about all these tools like Excel, Word, PowerPoint, ChatGPT, then definitely like you can register for our course, Articleship Accelerator program. Apart from that, I would recommend that you can also take other courses on hard skills, like let's say financial modeling is one. You can take that course. Apart from that, you can also take some courses on like how do you improve on all the etiquettes or skills like public speaking skills and all of that. So even like for public speaking specifically, you can take any of the courses of Toastmasters, etc., which will help you at least improve on your public speaking. So these are some courses that I would recommend. Let's take the next question. Kritika Singhal. Previously, we have to do 2-year articleship. After that, we can do industrial training for 1 year. Since from May 24, tenure for articleship is reduced to 2 years, then how can we do industrial training? You can do industrial training after 12 months of your articleship. So in the new syllabus, you can do 12 months articleship and 12 months industrial training. Okay. Let's take the next question. Can anyone share the WhatsApp group link, Nikhil? Yeah, I'll ask from my team to just share that WhatsApp group link here so that you are added to the WhatsApp group. Let's take the next question. Ria Khurana is asking, is assurance internal audit or stat audit? See, assurance is basically audit and assurance. So basically in assurance division, you will be getting an exposure of audit, which can include both internal audit as well as stat audit. So it's up to you where you want to get into ultimately. And assurance is basically like it is going to help you understand how do you make audit, or maybe how do you just verify the true and fair view of the financial statement. So that is assurance. Ria Pardeshi is asking, I have worked in my family business. Can I add this in my resume? Absolutely. You should definitely add this in your resume. In fact, I would definitely recommend you to add what impact you have done in your family business, what function you handled, whether you handle sales, whether you handle marketing, whether you handle HR. Write that. It is going to be a very, very impressive resume. Trust me, if you have worked in your family business and if you're able to add that. Let's take the next question. Samruddhi Hegde, sir, ITT will start from January end and goes till mid of February, but completed OC. Can I be able to apply for Big 10 firm before completing my ITT? Sir, please answer. So about ITT, I am not too sure if you'll be able to apply before completing ITT, but of course, like you can just tell them that your ITT is getting over by February and your articleship will start by March or April. So that is something which you can definitely do. So you can do that for sure. Let's take the next question, which is there. Okay, these are all repeat questions. Vijay Lakshmi is asking, sir, what about Bangalore? Is it a good place for articleship? Definitely, even Bangalore is a good place for articleship. The thing is that you will get a very good startup experience in Bangalore. A lot of these CA firms where you will do articleship, they'll be auditors for a lot of startups because Bangalore is known for startups. Almost all the unicorn startups are there in Bangalore. So basically, Bangalore mein you can do articleship, and in fact, there's a very good mid-sized firm called Guru and Jana in Bangalore. I think 600 people firm, and they also recruit a lot of articles. That's like that company, that firm's culture is like one of the best. Honestly, I know the founder Guru Makam sir, and that is going to be like one of the best firms for articleship if you want that exposure of mid-sized firm, startup firm, and all of that. So that is something which you can definitely have a look for. Let's take the next question, guys. Is it necessary to mention about personal details and career objective in the CV? Kajal, that's a very good question. I'll tell you, honestly, it's not needed, but I'll tell you, since you guys are going to apply for articleship, right? So you need to add some of the other things on your resume. So that is something which you should definitely have a look at. And I really feel that you should definitely take a look, or maybe you should definitely add personal details or career objective in the resume, because that is going to help people understand about your objective. And see, if you're able to add work experience, or if you're able to add some achievements, then if you think that ye lamba ho raha hai and one page se zyada ja raha hai, then you can remove personal details and career objective. But since most of the times it won't happen because we don't have work experience abhi tak utna, so it's recommended that wo likh lena chahiye. ठीक है? Let's take the next question by Lavanya. Sir, what are the skills required before joining in the articleship? Again, all the skills that I mentioned, which we have covered in our Articleship Accelerator program: resume building, group discussion, cracking interviews, MS Office, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, slight bit knowledge of financial modeling. That is also helpful. And the most important skill is about artificial intelligence. How do you leverage ChatGPT and other AI tools to get articleship, and how do you leverage LinkedIn as a tool? I think networking is one of the most underrated skills in the entire ecosystem, is what I feel. So if you're someone who wants to get articleship in any firm, Try to be a hustler, try to be a networker, and that is what we are going to teach you in that Articleship Accelerator program that we have launched. And I am going to, of course, like, since I am going to be involved and I am going to give my number to everyone who's going to register and all, so I am going to ensure that whatever doubts you have, you can WhatsApp me, you can call me, you can message me, and I'm going to ensure that I am myself being considered, and I am myself being, like, I'm grooming all of you who are there in the part of the batch. So, like, there is no doubt about that you guys are going to have the best possible experience, and you're going to love all the sessions that are going to be there. Of course, there's a refund policy. If you don't like, we are going to refund the money as well, and that is my promise to all of you, that if you don't like anything, we'll of course definitely refund the money, which is also going to be there. So, like, no doubt about that. Let's take the next question by Mitali Sumani. Which Big Four would be more beneficial for stat audit domain from the perspective of learning? Please suggest. I think, in my personal opinion, EY and KPMG would be good for your statutory audit thing. I think all the Big Fours would be good, honestly. But if you ask me, in my order of preference, KPMG, EY, Deloitte, and PwC. So KPMG is good for like statutory audits and all, and you'll get like good clients there. EY, may the work culture is that you'll be slogged to work for, let's say, 10-12 hours a day, but the exposure that you'll get will be very good. And Deloitte also, of course, like, the culture is quite good over there, and you can get like a good exposure in auditing. Okay. Let's take the next question. Would marks play a big role in CV shortlisting, Roopshri? Not really, but if you have a rank in your CA intermediate, then definitely that is going to be like a game changer and no-brainer for sure. Sushmita is asking, how are you going to shortlist 30 students for this Articleship Accelerator program? Like, how should I prepare for that? Three criterias. One is basically your drive and hustle to do things. Second is your hunger to learn. If you're hungry to learn new things and if you really want to upskill yourself in your career, that is two. And third is sincerity and enthusiasm. If you are someone who is very sincere and enthusiastic in the class, I would love those kind of people in the batch, because I want everyone to interact with each other. Like, these 30 people should be future leaders, and these 30 people should know each other in and out. And whenever you guys have any doubts or whenever you guys want any help, all 30 of them should be willing to help each other. So I want those kind of students who are very, very enthusiastic and who are very, very participative. Like, I'll tell you an example. In our career accelerator program for CA final students, we selected 28 people out of 90 applications, and these 28 people, they are like one of the smartest folks like I have ever met. So we did a small meetup in my house in Bombay, which also we'll do for Articleship Accelerator program for people who are in Bombay. But like, when I met them, I've got a gist that they are very enthusiastic and they are willing to help each other and they are willing to go that extra step. So that is something which we did for them. Yesterday we had a personal interview session. Day before yesterday we had a GD session, and we have now divided them into groups, and all of them are helping each other in their mock interviews, GDs, and all of that. So this is a community that we have created, and that is something which I want even in the Articleship Accelerator program. So, like, this is going to be very premium, and this is going to be very, very exclusive, and personalized attention is something which I'm a big fan of, that I have been giving to whoever registers for our courses. Let's take the next question by Pravesh Mirani. Do you know how people who did dummy articleship, is it something that you would suggest for someone who doesn't want to practice or do a job after clearing CA? No, not at all. I mean, dummy articleship is a curse, if I would say. Well, dummy articleship is one of the worst decisions if anyone can take in their lives. Even if you don't want to do a job, even if you don't want to practice, do articleship, clear your CA very meticulously. Articleship is something which is going to help you understand the practical world and practical life, the reality of the true world. Today you are studying for CA, you don't know how a practical life is going to work. Like, that's why, like, you have to ensure that you are someone who's helping yourself in the practical way by ensuring that you're doing articleship. If I wouldn't have done articleship, I wouldn't have known how to draft a proper email, how to write a proper email, how to, let's say, prepare summary minutes of the meeting, how to prepare a financial model. All of these things are like taught on the job, right? So you have to do articleship for sure, and all the skills which you're going to learn in articleship are always going to be there with you for the rest of your life. Sanchit Soni is asking, should we apply for articleship at mid-sized firms in metro cities? Yes, you can do that, Sanchit. In Bombay, like, there are good mid-sized firms like Desai Haribhakti, Chaturvedi and Shah, Khandelwal Jain, KNAV, Dhruva Advisors. A lot of mid-sized firms. Like, these are not mid-sized, by the way. These are like firms having 200, 300 articles, employees, and all of them. So definitely you can apply. You'll get a very good exposure. And these firms also have like very, very good clientele as well. So that is something which you will get. Even in the Articleship Accelerator program, in fact, we are reaching out to these mid-sized firms also, like the top 10, top 20 firms, and we are requesting them to, like, we'll give them reference. And if anyone would want to apply, we are going to give their reference and we are going to give their CVs also to the people, to the HRs of these firms as well. Sir, ACCA student can join for your Articleship Accelerator program. Mohammed, so ACCA students can join, of course. If you are someone who's coming for upskilling and you want to create that community, create that network, definitely you can join in. Just that ACCA में articleship नहीं होता है, so you wouldn't be getting that articleship experience, or we wouldn't be able to help you get an articleship because ACCA में वो होता नहीं है. So of course you are happy to enroll for that. In fact, even in our career accelerator program, there are 2 people from a non-CA background because they wanted to upskill because of the content and they wanted to be a part of the community. So definitely you can register even if you are ACCA. Tanisha Jain, sir, please tell something about SS Kothari Mehta and Company. Tanisha, I'm extremely sorry, but I have never heard about this firm, and I don't have any friends who are doing articleship in this firm, so I won't be the best person to answer this question, by the way. Cool, guys. My God, there are a lot of questions here. Let me take the last couple of questions in the interest of time. So I think all these questions are repeated itself. Let me take new questions. Okay, Siddharth is asking, sir, what are the skills or software we can learn during the time gap? I think I mentioned all the skills that you can learn during the time gap, which is going to be there. Kush, in future, I want to start my own PMS. So mid-size or big four, also industrial training in finance will help me for sure. If you want to start your own PMS, industrial training will help you in finance roles. I think if you want to start your own portfolio management service company, then doing articleship from big four will help you in the finance space, because if you want to start your own PMS, the network and the clientele that you'll develop in a big four articleship will help you ultimately start your own portfolio management service company. So that is something which you can do. If I were you, Kush, I would what I would do is I would do big four articleship industrial training. Then I would work in a PMS for 2 years. Let's say something like a Marcellus Investment Managers or a Bacchus, or there are also like Solidarity is one. So there are like good PMS funds in India, and you can work there for 2 years, and then ultimately you should start your own portfolio management services company. Cool. So let's take the last question. Lavanya is asking, what skills are required to crack interview? 3 skills. One is your communication skills. How well do you articulate? How well do you how well do you answer? Second is like your confidence. That is something which is extremely important. How confident you are in answering the questions and interviews. And third skill, which is very important in your cracking interviews thing, is your body language and eye contact. How do you, let's say, present yourself in front of the interviewer and all of that. So these are the 3 skills which are important in cracking interviews. And also like you should be prepared of all the possible questions that can be asked to you. So these are like some skills which are required in cracking interviews. And once again, like you can register from for our Articleship Accelerator program, and we'll be teaching you about everything about cracking interviews, group discussions, and all of that. We also have one of the persons, Manuraj Garg, who is from ISB Hyderabad, and he's also going to help all of you with cracking interviews, group discussions, and all of that. He's been training the career accelerator program batch students as well, and we've got some amazing feedback. And we usually divide into groups and give like a mini MBA kind of an experience over a period of 10 days. Cool. So I think that's it. So thank you so much, guys, for doing this and coming to our session. If you like this session, we have posted a screenshot on the WhatsApp group, and please feel free to share this on your social media on Instagram or LinkedIn. Don't forget to tag me so that I can also engage on these posts, and I can also get to know that, okay, what you have learned. Try to just write what you have learned from all the sessions in the last 1 hour 45 minutes. Try to write a crisp summary, and that is a good way of starting your own LinkedIn journey as well. So try to just add value to your audience by whatever you do, whatever you keep doing on these Sundays and all of that. And that is something which will be very helpful to your audience as well. So thank you so much once again for joining this session. It was lovely talking to all of you, and looking forward to having you in our upcoming webinars as well. And looking forward to having all of you in the Articleship Accelerator program as well. So if you are someone who wants to upskill yourself and come for the Articleship Accelerator program, please register, and we'll be more than happy to have you. So thank you so much once again, guys. And we'll be more than happy to have you in the Articleship Accelerator program. Yeah, Om, you'll get the recording of this session. Kushal Kapoor is asking, sir, link, please. We've given the link here. So just Vrishti Shah, please just paste the link in the chat box once again last time, so that people will get to know about the WhatsApp link as well. Perfect. So there's a link. KAGR admin has just put it. So please just come, you can just click on that link and you can join the WhatsApp group. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a lovely Sunday. Bye.